Just to start off slightly different from usual, I just wanted to add this addendum to the beginning of the episode. Unfortunately, due to user error, my error specifically, large chunks of this episode were lost. So I've tried my best to stitch it together, but, well, there'll be a few rough edges. So I hope you still enjoy the episode today and don't get too confused by a few of things that sound a little bit out of context. Thanks for listening. Kia ora, Internet! Hello and welcome to the Sky Bear Games podcast. I'm here this week. You can hear my voice. It's Claire. Where's James, you ask? He's got bronchitis. Aww. But instead, who's that voice we can hear saying, "Oh, it's our amazing friend," and oh my god, like, how many titles do you have? Producer, work wife, sound engineer, like, so many things.
Cheerleader.
Lauren Wilson.
So many.
Your cheerleader, Lauren Wilson. Welcome to the show. Yay!
Thank you. Hi, everyone. For you guys who don't know, I am Claire's work wife. I think that's the best title to, give myself. We've done so many projects together, but I'm currently in the UK on what was supposed to be a 2-year, overseas work visa travel extravaganza.
Well, the work part happened.
So I'm currently working, thankfully. But I will be back in New Zealand in September, having an experience that I think is very, I would say, unique, but there's 20,000 Kiwis in the UK experiencing the same thing.
Right.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But currently I also did all the sound design for Nim and for White Rabbit.
Yeah. So Nim will be coming out probably in January, and Wonderland Nights is already out, has been out since October, and the Chinese version is about to drop.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
Yeah, I think it's 29th my time, 28th Pacific Standard Time, I believe, is what Steam operates on. So yeah, it's exciting, it's daunting, I hope it goes well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's just awesome knowing that, you've taken kind of what was just an idea, really. Kickstarted it, got it made out there, and then now it's going to the Chinese market. That's insane.
It's so cool. I'm so I never really I've been a playwright, I've written other forms of fiction and stuff, but I never sort of expected to see my work translated, and now it is, and that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, we had when we did Dracula, the Romanians invented little part, they made up parts in Romanian for themselves, and that was amazing. But I've never seen a whole work of mine translated before, and it's just it was actually sort of humbling that someone else had to, I think it was just the one translator, her English name is Brittany, and she just sat there with my words and think of all the idioms she had to go through, right?
Oh, completely, yeah. Yeah. That's the whole thing, is it's translating not only standard English, but it is New Zealand English. Because I've lived overseas a few times in my life, and even though we all speak the same language, English is such a dirty language, and I say that because it is. It's true. But just country to country, it changes meaning on just words that should be so similar.
Absolutely.
To what we say. So not only should you have to translate very well spoken English, to be fair, I understand where the games come from. It is Alice in Wonderland, it is more English, British English, but it's still New Zealand, and also then she had to deal with all our accents.
Yeah. Oh, she actually said she loved hearing the voices. It really helped her get into the world, and she told me to keep that in the Chinese version, because it seems like some people like to have, even though it's in a foreign language, they still like to get the sense of the character. I've always been tempted to play Persona, for example, with English text but Japanese speech. Maybe I will do that one day, because I love those games.
I mean, that's how I watch anime, so...
Right, yeah. I try to watch anime that way too. Well, less so now that I have a child, because, if I'm watching anything, I usually have to rely on sound more than visual,
Exactly,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
I'm one of those people that watch the dubs, then watch the subs, because then I understand what's going on if I have to take a break. But I know that makes me a heathen in anime.
Oh no. Sometimes you have to watch a dub, like I've actually had a fascinating time listening and reading Cardcaptor Sakura, the one on Netflix, at the same time, because the subs and the dubs are completely different from each other.
Oh yeah. That's something we'll discuss, I think.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that point, because that's
it's
going to come up because my topic tonight. This was supposed to be a topic that I shared with James, but I can actually just do a brief speak on what the topic is. What are Skybear Games' plans for 2021? As it stands right now, because obviously things can change.
As we know.
Hopefully things change. Well, you can get into that more deeper into the episode. So I will just start. I'll start on James's plans, because we'll just get that out of the way. I don't want to speak too much on his stuff. But obviously his major project is Dragons of Tyrania. And it's also my project as well. I do contribute stuff. Obviously I wrote all the material for Apprentices of Tyrania, referencing back to things that he'd written.
Yeah.
And we're going to fold that adventure into a supplement in the future.
Nice.
But his main goal is to just get words on paper and refine until we have a Kickstartable product. Whether that's going to be a player's handbook, Dungeon Master adventure campaign guide. That's his plan, to finalize what system or systems we are in, get it all on paper, get it out as a Kickstarter. I'm going to be helping with that, especially when it comes to proofreading, editing, additional materials, the admin side of things. I will probably be running the Kickstarter when we do it, because I've run 2 successful Kickstarters in the past. And his other goal, more of a personal goal, is to stop starting so many campaigns. Oh God. Unfortunately, he's not here to tell me how many he started, but how many did we start just this last year? He was running an Odyssey of the Dragonlords campaign, which he has decided to end because he's just not feeling it. He is still running one called The Dragons of Tyrania, one which will eventually get turned into a book. Oh yeah, by the way, future plans. So you would have seen this as a patron of ours. Yep. If anyone wants to see this, they'll have to sign up to Patreon. We dropped today in the behind the scenes secrets, we dropped our ideal future plans of what a line of books would look like from Dragons of Tyrania.
Yeah.
Super ambitious, right? It might never happen. But dream big, right? You dream big, and then you can negotiate down from there. That's the way I prefer to do things.
Awesome.
Odyssey of the Dragonlords, Ruins of Oromia, which he was writing. That's going to probably wrap up in about 4 sessions. But things are hard. With a baby, things are hard, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We play tested our Double Cross adventure. He ran another. What's that one called? He ran Death of an Artist earlier this year. Oh, God.
Anything on Discord.
We tried to run a thing between you and me. Remember we were players in...
the steampunk.
He wanted to do an Eberron campaign, and that didn't last long. Because, surprisingly, he's wanted to do Eberron for years, and then he just wasn't feeling it. He was there, and he was the magic technology, and I'm not really feeling it. And that's, that's fair. It's a shame, but it's fair.
It's kind of one of those things of you, as a dungeon master, you really need to believe in that world to set up some epic campaigns. So as players, as much as we were enjoying it, it's understandable when a dungeon master is especially with James, because he's so invested in his world, which is to give my background on D&D just quickly, I was a newbie until Claire and James introduced me to the world, because as much as I wanted to get into it when I was younger, I didn't have the friend group, really. That's what happened.
Basically no one did. That was me too, before James.
Yeah, and so I was part of I guess maybe one of the first Dragons game, really.
You were.
What kind of boosted it. And so I've been playing on and off with Claire and James, kind of learning the world, learning the mechanics, because I'm interested in it, but of course being overseas, a bit hard. But yeah, so it's kind of it's been really awesome watching this grow, because I was there kind of from the beginning. But yeah, it's that whole thing of James just creates immersive worlds and immersive campaigns, which is awesome. But if you can't do that, I see why he can then get... And also it was difficult, because it was run over Zoom.
And it was while I was still breastfeeding, so by about 9-10 p.m. I was falling asleep. So we would be there on the video chat, and you could see me just go like,
yeah.
All right, for those of you who can't see our video chat, which is everyone except for you and me, Lauren, I'm just doing that thing where my head nods down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were part of the second ever group to do a Dragons of Tyrrhenia campaign, Carnival. We had so much fun, and that is totally going to become like a campaign book in the end. The only one that happened before that was like way back in like 2014, 15, I forget which one. Actually, it was not the shape that it would eventually be. So when it came to Carnival, that was like the first like true, like you were there. Yeah, you were there at the beginning. You were there for the real. Yeah. So, So
awesome.
Those are James's plans. That's how much I'm going to cover of James's stuff, and maybe in a future episode he can just briefly speak on other plans. I mean, maybe we should do like a focus on Dragons of Tyrrhenia in the future. We've already kind of done that. It's my favourite setting in anything. I think even more than like Ravenloft and Ravenloft Rocks.
Yeah. It's that whole thing of like, one, if you listen to people have passion, I could listen, like, even if it's a subject that I don't like I've listened to my father talk about cricket for hours at times, because he is he's not a sir, but he's an Order of Merit cricket person,
right, yeah.
Which is just weird to say. But the thing is, like, I don't find cricket interesting at all. I think it's quite boring. But if you listen to someone talk with passion, then yeah. But it's like, I'm actually interested in what James has to say.
Totally. He talks about everything with passion. Yeah. It's one of the things that attracted me to him.
Gross. Disgusting.
But yeah. He's a very captivating speaker. All right. Now I'm going to get into the stuff that I can wax lyrical about and I can talk super passionately about, which is my plans.
Yes.
So, the first things first, you already know where I'm going with this. We are getting 9 lives out the door. So it's not just us, but we can start with talking about us. It's us, and then it's also the Chinese release. So about us. I still have some code improvements to make. I had some feedback from that Bundle Buddies podcast, which I'm going to be appearing on in a couple of weeks. No, more like 3 or 4 weeks' time. And James is going to be there too. And
That's awesome. They were so lovely. Like the feedback that they gave was helpful. And the fact that they said like they don't normally play the type of game Nim is, and they enjoyed it, like it was just like kind of mind blowing. Also, like, I wonder if they did play the storyline that I'm in, and I'm like, oh my god, they know what I look like, even though they have no idea.
Oh, it was so funny. The only person they commented on that I could like identify was they did say that Vitas, who plays Timon, is a hunk. That was cute. I like that.
And to comment on that as a preview, his voice is very good.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's a really good. I am so happy with the quality of Wonderland Nights, and I'm looking forward to hearing the whole experience of 9 Lives when we get done with that. So I've got a few code improvements. The thing I especially want to focus on from the Bundle Buddies feedback was that they found the beginning way too exposition-y. And I can totally see that is a problem with my games. Like, White Rabbit is exposition up the wazoo. So, like, there's part of me that's like, oh, but you need to know all these things. But there's another part of me that like, hey, let's try and scaffold it. Let's make it more interesting. Let's make it just more pleasant to play through, because here's the thing, right? Like you said, they don't usually play those sorts of games all the time, and yet my game still drew them in, and it was even like, they were like, we'd come back to this after like, I want to have a bath, I want to get into bed with like jam on toast or whatever, I don't remember what. Cheese on toast, I think it was for them.
They had a great description, so if you want to listen to like guys who give like feedback on this Black Lives Matter bundle, one, it was hilarious to listen to, but also like just like the descriptions of how to play Nim, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that.
I need to hurry up and put it on Android so that people can like, play more easily on their phones and stuff. I have no hope, by the way, I have no hope of putting anything on Apple unless I get a Mac to develop on, and I've never really had a lot of exposure to Mac, and so I find using Macs pretty painful. So I don't know if that's ever happening. But Android,
one of the things I'll look into is getting a Mac, because of course, like if we get into more editing and stuff, a lot of the stuff is now unfortunately dictated towards Mac.
Well, I mean, if So, like, this is going into future plans. Like, I feel like we should leave this for later, but I'll just hint at it. Like,
probably
when you come back, I want to use your video editing capabilities more. Because, like, I'm so
she's a queen of multi-talent. I am the queen of
absolutely are. And I have tried. Like, you know me, I multitask. I'm multi-talented too, but, like, I've tried editing and it just drives me up the wall. Sound editing, I'm like, all good. I'm just like, I can see the little cough, the little blip of a cough coming up. So wrapping up on 9 Lives. Yep. So I want to make the exposition less painful. I want to make it more like, you know, more modern games tend to really scaffold their tutorial, their expositions into their tutorials, really fold it in so that you're playing the thing, you're doing what the character would do, and then someone pops up and goes, actually, and, you know, you learn a little bit more without just reading.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully that, and there's a few other little bits and pieces. I actually had Jade make a bunch of new art, even though I already did the art upgrade. I thought of another thing, and I was like, why did I not have this the whole time? Instead of every single night you get the full moon, you get a picture of the full moon every night, even though in the corner it also says what the phase of the moon is, and so you shouldn't be seeing a full moon every single night. I have now got her to make the phases of the moon, so that
brilliant.
That will now make more sense. Yay. Yeah, I'm kicking myself because she whipped it out so fast that it's like she could have whipped it out really fast 2 years ago. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I ask her for that? She might have even asked me if that's what I wanted, because she's usually pretty like onto things like that. So I was kicking myself.
It would have been one of those things where you're going, we'll think about it, and then of course like the chaos of getting it out.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. And the terror and the imposter syndrome, frankly, of like releasing your first game on Steam is like, should I be doing this? Do I have the right?
Exactly.
Do I have the right to pretend to be a video game publisher?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, and then everyone playing it, of course, and then you're like, look at me, I'm a video game publisher.
Exactly. Yeah. But hey, no bug reports so far for either of my games. So that's... And the one more thing with 9 Lives, well, 2 more things. So the Chinese release, Brittany is working on the translation right now. I'm not sure how far through she is, because she tends to be silent unless she, has a specific question to ask, idioms to translate, and things that need clarification. And then suddenly, boom, she's done everything, and then, I put it into the game. So eventually that's going to happen, and that'll be cool. Then I just thought of another thing I want to just earmark as try and do this next year when you get back, is try and have like a joint 9 Lives, Wonderland Nights party, plus like welcome back Lauren.
Yes.
Let's play croquet, let's have a tea party, let's
speak Shakespearean to each other,
and like wear costumes and stuff.
Tea party at the cat cafe. I mean, your release for 9 Lives when it first came out was the cat cafe, which was a glorious night just because I got to hang out with cats.
I know, right? This time I want it to be at one of there's a few croquet clubs around, so I want to do like a tea party at a croquet club, because it was supposed to be. We were supposed to have a launch party for Wonderland Nights. And we couldn't. Yeah. Because everything was shut.
Because of COVID.
And well, no, actually things were opening up by that time, but nobody wanted to come to the party. Nobody took interest. Yeah. And that's fair enough. Yeah. I was bummed, but that's fair enough. So we'll try and get as many...
Unfortunately, it was that just time of year where it was like the first lockdown. That was really it. It was just... I mean, things opened up in New Zealand, so...
We'll try and get as many people back for it as we can. There's a few people in, I believe Vitas is in Australia, but Chrissy is too, and I think Samuel Hatch, he sounds American, so we obviously can't get them, but it'd be nice to try and get Rose up from Wellington and just get the whole gang back together. Well, I say back together, but no one's actually there are some people who haven't met each other. But it'll be fun.
It would be super fun. Yeah. And I might be coming back via Australia because my family's moving.
Can you pack Chrissy into your suitcase?
Chrissy and Vitas, I'll just be like, hey guys.
Nice.
Just come on over.
Cool. So that'll be 9 Lives. Just fold that in there. Now, after 9 Lives is done, and I am actually I'm still concurrently working on this, just every now and again when I get a little spare moment, I jot a few scenes down. I work on the dialogue for the extra parts that I'm putting into Her Gentle Highness. So Her Gentle Highness, I don't know if I even have spoken about this before on the podcast, so I will now. Her Gentle Highness is a game where you are the lady in waiting to a queen, Queen Miriam, whose husband George betrayed her with another woman, and he's fled the country, and she has banned the letter G because, you know, it was his initial. So no one can spell words with G in it or say words with G in it, which is, like, on paper it looks hilarious and, like, mind-boggling, but, like, to say things, this is the thing. I'm not sure if we're going to put voice acting in this now. We'll hold that thought. We'll bookmark that for later, because I've got an interesting exercise for you and me to do live tonight on the podcast.
Live. We're going to do it live.
For the first time, no rehearsals. You're the lady in waiting, and it's supposed to be a nice balance between fun, because the art is really fun. It's done by Sean Miller, who's a friend of ours from theatre, and he does animation and stuff. And he's got like a channel where he does like D&D animations and stuff. Fail Monkey, fail spelt with a Y, so check him out on YouTube. And yeah, so he's done the character art and some of the UI and stuff. And then what we've done underneath his art is we've put public domain backgrounds. And I love the contrast. I really, really love the contrast between these hugely detailed backgrounds with dramatic poses and stuff going on in the background, and then these very, like, sort of halfway between Invader Zim and Adventure Time sort of characters. I really like the look, but I have had, like, a bit of feedback on itch.io. I asked for some feedback, and someone said, oh yeah, the art looks really unfinished. And I was like, oh, really? Oh. I can definitely brush up some of the public domain stuff, but I really like Sean's art, so yeah.
I think it could also just be the contrast throws people, and they think that you're just like
chucked stuff together.
It that way, pretty much.
Yeah. So maybe I need to sort of work on like color palettes to make it look like it comes together a bit more. We'll see. Maybe I can play around with like modifying the public domain art so it is a bit more, like maybe I could cartoonify it a bit more using certain filters, and I'd say Photoshop, but really it's paint.net because I can't afford Photoshop. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, and my brother, he's going to come back and do the music. So he did the music for 9 Lives, and he needed a break, so he didn't do the music for Wonderland Nights. So he used public domain classical music for that. And then Brent is I've actually written the basic ditty that I want, and then he is hopefully going to take that and do like several different variations on it, and also like change things up so people don't get sick of hearing the same thing again and again. It's supposed to be, you know, a balance between fun. I want you to have fun, but I also want you to feel stressed. I also want you to feel an appropriate level of anxiety of like, oh my god, am I gonna survive the queen? Like, am I accidentally gonna say G in front of her? And there's multiple different endings. You can like marry different characters that you meet. You can kill the queen in different ways. You can be killed by the queen in different ways. It's a little bit cartoonish violence, and hopefully it's fun. So I said to you before, like initially I was like, oh yeah, we should totally do the voice acting. There's not that many characters, so maybe we could, you know, just pull it out with a very small cast so we can get it done really quickly. And then more recently I said to you, like, oh god, the more I read this, the more I'm like, I don't know if we can voice act this, because is it funnier to just read it and for your head to try and imagine how saying thought, THOUGHT, is different from saying thought, THORT.
Yeah.
Like, is it just funnier to read that rather than to like hear someone say it and then be like, it doesn't sound any different. Like the difference between hi, HIGH, and just HI. Yeah. Like the high priestess, when you see it spelt, she's just the HI priestess. But there's no difference in sound. So what we're going to do, Lauren, is check your email.
Oh my gosh.
And we are going to read a portion of the script. Now, the Queen speaks the most, so I'll play the Queen, which is represented by the letter Q. And you can play... Now, the main character's name is Eorina, which is Georgina without the G's. And so you can play the Eorina and just do whatever accent you want for her. But I'll be doing my plummiest English accent for this, because of course I will.
Oh, yes.
All right, tell me when you've got it up.
Okay, I've got it up. This is hilarious.
Cool. So this is from right at the beginning. There's been a couple of scenes before this. There has been, an exposition scene. Fancy that. There's been an exposition scene where it explains that she got cheated on, the king fled the country, she used to be friends with Eorina's mother. Eorina's mother drowned, saving the queen from drowning. So, like, there's this tight thing with their family. Eorina, it is wonderful to see you. How you have grown. Your mother would be so proud to see the young woman you have become.
Your Majesty is most kind.
I must warn you, my dear. I have the ability that made my forebears the best leaders of this country. I have a slight psychic ability to sense what the people think and say behind my back. You have said the forbidden letter today.
I have... I'm sorry, Your Majesty. Oh, yes, my brother's name. Please forgive me.
You are forgiven, dear Eorina. I know it is hard, but I trust you will do your best not to upset me in the future.
Yes, of course, most definitely, Your Majesty.
Well, that is enough for today. I will retire for the night, and my night maids will attend me. A servant will show you to your room. Meet here tomorrow morning and arrange my schedule for the day.
Oh, that was close. I hope my father can find a replacement for me quickly. I'm not sure my Tanyu won't slip in front of her.
So see, like, people listening to that wouldn't hear, like, slight was spelled S-L-I-T-E.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think it's definitely more funny-ish now. The other way you can do it, I would say, without actually using English, is you know how some of those games have like not English, but just like you hear voices, but it's not
gibberish.
Words. So like gibberish, but it's not even like forming the words. It's just hearing like the tone of the character. So like, of course, with the Queen, you would have
I think maybe
So it's kind of like they don't actually.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that would be my only recommendation for voice. Yeah, but like you said, it's funnier to read because that's the whole point. Like the only like word that stood out there was for jive.
And actually, I think now that I think about it, it should be like
really?
For jiven. It's funnier to read,
or whatever.
I think it's funnier to actually read the words rather than hear them. I think the joke is slightly ruined by saying it out loud. I really like your idea. I really like your idea. I think we'll put gibberish in.
Yeah, it's something. I think a few because I play quite a few graphic novels like when I grew up and stuff, and I remember some of them not really having any voices, but having the
even like Persona when you're not in a major scene, they do have like the characters sort of just going rather than saying the whole line out. You know, they go, or yeah, or
like, I'm going to start to speak, but I can't be bothered saying this whole line.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
That is a genius idea. No, sorry, that is a genius idea.
Genius idea. Thank you. I would like that on a cup, the world's most genius. Genius.
Cool. Okay, so we're still super busy with 9 Lives, and also, I just got cast as my dream role of Lady Bracknell in The Importance of Being Earnest, which is being done by the Classic Theatre Company. You can check them out on classictheatrecompany.co.nz. It's like 30 years too early, because I honestly thought I'd have to wait until I was, you know, late 50s, maybe 60s, 70s to play this role. But it's the sort of thing where I wouldn't be coming back for any other role. Like, So the fact that it was offered to me was like, oh, okay, you got me. Yeah. Like, okay, fine. You win.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also, I'm just going to briefly mention, because this will probably crop up in the probably in the first half of this year, possibly even the first quarter of this year, but you and I have a new plan.
Yes, we do. Me and Claire have been talking a while about doing our own podcast, but we're back and forth just because we like talking to each other. That's pretty much it. And so we have been planning a new podcast. We're still thinking about the name because we've had a few ideas that make us giggle, but we don't know if that's logical. But
yeah, it has to be like marketable.
But it's going to be us reviewing and remembering and reminiscing about our childhood shows. So recently, just as a side note, I watched The Winx Club again. So it was like 2003 to about 2007 it was on, and like I didn't realize there's actually all this history about it, so like, and I'll save that for the podcast. But I messaged Claire with like the opening sequence of the terrible 4Kids dub, and she laughed her butt off. And
I was drinking coffee at work and I just had to like put my can down because I almost like spit it out all over the screen.
It's one of those things where I watched the first season quite religiously as a kid, and then I rewatched the actual like true to the Italian version dub like yesterday or the day before, because when I work I can have media in the background and I don't want to watch what is on the History Channel right now. So side note, I work as a media planner in the UK, and I work for a European History Channel. So I deal with a lot of European history, which is a lot of Nazis and World War II content. So work girl. Mixed in with like quite a few good documentaries. Like there's a lot of Egypt stuff and lots of like stuff that I don't think we get a lot of in New Zealand, and I am a history buff, so like it's great, but sometimes there's too much Nazis and I need to watch Winx Club. You don't say there's too many Nazis in this world. But yeah, so I started rewatching it, and then like suddenly on my YouTube recommendations I've got Totally Spies. Danny Phantom backed up, because I've watched Danny Phantom as an adult. I love Danny Phantom. But yeah, so I was talking to Claire, and then she started talking about Neopets. So yeah, and also like I worked at,
which I actually, as we were talking about it, I had a screen up with Neopets on it because I play it every December for that advent calendar every single year. I'm in my 30s. Work girl.
Work. So we are planning to do a podcast where it's just two Kiwis talking about, I think it's also because we're so influenced in New Zealand by certain media that it's going to be really interesting to see like what we're influenced and then where we grew kind of thing, because of course then like we just talked about like card captors, but like, you know, we only got like one
manga and anime.
Yeah, but we only got like 1 or 2 seasons, and then you discover there's been like 6 seasons in America, and you're like, what? Like,
we always get left out, man.
Yeah, we always get like the super popular stuff. So yeah, so that is hopefully starting. I mean, when we can just get time, but we do have time coming up because I'm in lockdown again.
Thanks, Boris.
Thanks, Europe, for shutting us down. Well, hopefully this vaccine works. It's that whole thing. But so I'm super excited for that because I've wanted to do a podcast with Claire for a while, and of course, like, we've talked about me guesting on this podcast anyway, and especially when it comes to like gameplay, because I am quite a newbie to a lot of these games, so it's always quite fun when me and Claire and James play together because they have to tell me stuff and watch me fumble around.
Oh girl, I don't know anything.
Yeah, but like there's some
I just improvise until James tells me what the actual rule is.
Yeah. But remember, I think we were playing one of those really old games on one of your systems. Gosh, what was it called? It's like 90s, like, and we were playing it at your house, and I think I just kept forward rolling. Or like I couldn't, like, it was just like I'll remember it like tomorrow kind of thing.
Wait, it wasn't the old Hercules game?
No,
Disney's Hercules.
No, it wasn't Disney Hercules. It was I think it started with T, but this was a
Tomba.
Could have been. I think it might have been that. But it's whatever this...
Tombi, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I just couldn't, like, handle the control. But we were just sitting there, like, laughing because you're like, I've clocked this game 600 times. And I'm like, I could do a forward roll.
It was Tombi. It was Tombi. Yeah, it was Tombi.
Yeah. Which...
I can clock that game in 3 hours straight.
Yeah.
I've played it so many times in my life.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. Just like, I can do the forward roll. Just like, look at this. this. Look at me, Mom. That's very much what it was. But yeah, so like, of course that will probably still happen.
It's funny you bring up Tomby.
Ooh, segue.
Well, because this we'll peg that one up for later. And this is me putting feelers out, okay? Because here's the thing. I don't know how well the Chinese release is going to do. I hope it does well. I hope that maybe this is the year that maybe I can be my own boss. Gosh, I hope no one from my work is listening because, oh, yikes. But anyway,
she loves her job. She loves her job.
Do,
she loves her job.
Like, I'm actually really grateful for my job as a software tester at... I won't say where, but it's pretty easy to find out where I work on the internet. LinkedIn. Anyway.
LinkedIn.
I'm really grateful. They're a really good employer and they've been super chill, not only about me and my baby. Like, I had to take a sick day today because he was not doing very well. But, like, back in the day, and also because there are a lot of really... arbitrary, power trippy type of bosses, just under the super chill. So they're really lovely to me, and I do have like a bit of loyalty to them, so I would feel definitely sad about leaving, but like, not gonna lie, I've got so many ideas. I could make so many video games. I could just be cranking them out, although of course, I do want to keep an eye on quality at all times and creativity and all that. I think I'd work harder for myself than I would work for anyone else. So if the money can meet up with the like expectations, then
yeah, like you have this like self-loyalty, which is like, as much as like, we're not going to talk about like personal stuff, but like you've got a self-loyalty to your visions, which is like awesome to see. So like if you can become your own boss, and once again I assume this is where this is going, like if the Chinese market goes well and you've got stuff coming in, then you can become your own boss and then hire me. I mean, what? Who said that? Oh.
Well, you're definitely like, I don't know whether it's you first or mum. Might have to be mum first as nanny, frankly, but then
yeah, fair.
But like you know what James actually says? James actually says that we hire you before we hire him. He doesn't think that he should be working full-time on things. You should be working full-time on our things.
I think it's that different aspect of like, James is a workhorse for his books and stuff like that. But the marketing and like, because working in media, like I sell... Like, I plan commercial breaks, so I sell products to people during...
Exactly, yeah.
It's hard to describe what my job is sometimes when I do a media, because, like you, I've got a great boss, great job. I mean, like, I was supposed to start work 10 minutes ago, but YOLO. I work from home, and I worked till 8 p.m. last night. But, like, it's that whole thing of, like, I really am kind of just, like, a marketing person, because I have to go, where do I want the audience to see? What do I want them to see? Putting in this Mysteries of Egypt during this Henry VIII promo work. So it's like, I've picked up a lot of skill that I was like, but I work in media, like why would this be a skill? But like with the release of Nim and me and you talking about marketing plans and me trying to do trailers for that stuff, it's really interesting that like all these skills, I'm like, oh yeah, like, and that's the whole thing, is because it's a sales tactic, which it's never fun. It's never fun to do it. But, like, I've got that to be like, I'm going to sell this product. Whereas James is creative. And, of course, that, sometimes it's a barrier. Yeah.
He recognizes that he is mostly, almost solely the ideas guy. He is good at writing things down, but he is too self-critical, and he recognizes that too. So it does take him a lot longer to write things down. Whereas I, by contrast, am also an ideas person, but when I'm in the writing zone, I try and be less self-critical just so I can get stuff down, and then I let the self-criticism come in afterwards. And not just the self-criticism, I show him things that I've written, I show you things, I show other people things to get the critique rolling in, and then I like sit there and I'm like, why don't you automatically like the thing I did where? And I take 24 hours to get over myself, and then I get over myself and I make improvements. Anyone who puts creative work out there knows, it's so hard. All of my plans except for like, obviously I want to get Gentle Highness out, and I want to try and not do anything else before Gentle Highness is out. Because, particularly you, because you are so involved in all that I do, I feel like, I want to hear your opinion. Not necessarily gonna I'm gonna do whatever the heck I want, but but like, no, I still want.
You're the creative mind, but yeah,
I have to do what inspires me, but I still want to. I want to know like what my audience want. Like, I still haven't. I feel like my audience hasn't found me, or at least my English speaking audience. I am going to finally open up about something I haven't talked about on the podcast yet. So my patrons, you, Lauren, and Dave, the two of you, have been to something that I haven't really shared on the podcast, haven't shared on the blog, because I don't like talking about work I haven't done yet. I like to be able to present things to people when they're nearly finished. I like to leave it, I like to do my Kickstarters 3 months before the game comes. But I went through something last month, and I'm going to finally open it up about on the podcast. So I'll just briefly say it, because you're probably sick of hearing about it, Lauren. So I applied for a funding opportunity, and I thought it sounded like Exact Jam, like they'd want it. Yeah. And the guy that I talked to on the phone at the place, he was like, "This sounds like exactly our jam. Please send in the application." I slaved away at that application. It was really, really important to me. I got in. Oh my God. It's like a reunion of the guests of this podcast. I got in River from our conversations about cultural appropriation, and I got, James in, and I put all these people in this application and said, this is the team. But then when the actual rejection came through, I was actually sort of cool about it, because I'd spent all of the last week stressing so hard, because I had in my mind that I needed this, and I needed to quit my job. And I mean, here's the other part to it. I've got bung knees, I've got a bung neck. I'd be able to do my meditation, I'd be able to do my yoga, I would be able to do my exercise, because I've got physical problems. I really struggle to fit my health regimen into my every single day, because unfortunately, as a mother and a wife, I do sort of prioritize. When you have a child, this is sort of expected of you. So, I was really bummed. I was actually sort of bummed out more for that personal level, but I am still bummed out for the game. So I'm going to tell you about the game. And this is one that really I won't be able to work on unless I'm working full-time as Mrs. Skybear Games. The working title is called Super High, and it's not going to be called that, because I think Andy Samberg just pitched a thing that he's going to do a movie or something, or a TV series called Super High, which is going to be about being high, rather than my thing was superheroes in high school. Yeah. To be fair, I was trying to play also on super high, man. Can you tell I've never taken drugs?
Oh my gosh.
I am the whitest Maori person there ever was.
She's an innocent little beacon of joy.
I am. So it would have been a trilogy of games, very inspired by Persona, but taking quite a different tack. So quite JRPG based, quite based on social interactions, much like Persona was. But it was going to be, well, again, like often happens in Persona, the main plot was going to be a murder mystery for the first one, and it was going to be focused on a bunch of kids who find they have superpowers, what's going on, they start unpacking the murder mystery, and then in the second installation they start unpacking the mystery of the town, and what happens in the third game is spoilerific, can't go there. So I won't go too deep into the mechanics and the stuff of that, because it's honestly probably the most unlikely one that we're going to get to do, but I definitely want to do it one day.
If you can become your own boss, then something like this sounds amazing, and I feel like I understand where your influences come from, everything like that. But unfortunately, the reality of the world is that if you can't spend the time on it, you've got to go after things that you can spend the time you have to make decent quality, because that's the thing, is you'll still produce games, and you still produce what I consider very for what I know that you work with in your time in your life, you spend and make great quality games for that. But for something like this, because it sounds so enriched, you want to give it more time, and you can't do that with 3 hours here, 4 hours here. You've got to spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week on it, like a proper work schedule.
I need to learn Unity. Now, look, I've played around with Unity before. The language that I am trained in from when I went to school for programming is C#, so I can get down, I can jam with Unity, but I need more time to play around with it because I'm really not down with it. The thing I'm most down with is RenP. That's the thing that my 2 games are published in. So I need to actually just have time where I can just sit and play around with Unity and figure out which direction I'm taking. And that's not something that I can afford to do with the limited free time that I have. And
As a mother. But also as a worker, as a person who had and this is the thing, is you could do this if you wanted no social life, no mental health, no I think this is the biggest thing of where creative comes through and like gaming and stuff, is that you need to keep yourself healthy to be able to do this. And you could produce these games if you wanted to harm yourself. That's pretty much what it is, because unfortunately, like we've talked about, capitalism, you've got to, pay bills, you've got to work, you've got to take care of your husband, you've got to take care of your kid, but you've also got to take care of you, which is like where theatre comes in, where going seeing friends, where going to hang out with your mum. Because FYI, Claire's mum's cool.
She's so cool. She's been one of the biggest helpers that people don't really realize, because she's the unsung hero. Because she will basically look after. She'll do it, and some weekends she'll do it so that I can get more work done on these games and stuff. Especially when it comes to just before the planned release time. She's excellent like that. So the other little thing that I have though with that, and this is the first time I've said the idea to you, I don't think I've had this idea before today, but what we could do, because I am still writing the script for Super High, is what we could always do is get the crew together who I wanted to do the voices for the characters, and just do it as like a radio show initially, so we could actually do the plot.
And that would also test out your script, because I think one of the feedback we had from Nim was it was a bit clunky at times. But I also think that's because the Shakespearean elements makes everything clunky. Sorry, Shakespeare. But it would be also it would give you the feelers to see if this would work as well. So that's definitely a great idea, to get a radio play ish. And
I think we leave it until you're back, though. I think we leave it until you're back. Because I want you in the room, and spoilers, I think I want you to play the white best friend. I think I want you to play Hope.
Oh my god, am I the token white person?
You are the token white girl, yeah.
I want to be the token white person.
You're the cheerleader. Well, she's not actually a cheerleader, she's a netballer, but you are you're playing that type, right? Yeah.
Oh my god, I know that type. At school, I judged them so harshly. Coming from a sports person, I was a sport person at high school, but I played hockey, not netball. And I went to an all-girls school, so of course netball was bigger. And I was judging their top. Oh my god, she needs to have a top knot.
But this is wasn't early 2000s pre-top knot? Wasn't that a later 2010s thing?
No, well, it was when I was at school.
Oh, okay.
It was 2000 high school. It was 2000, and I finished school in 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to uni at 2011. Okay. So 2010. So it was a few years before that. So it was kind of more mid 2000s rather than early.
Okay,
2000s.
That could work.
But if not, could work. I mean, just for one scene.
Could work, yeah.
Who are you thinking? What kind of art style are you thinking for it?
So I have. Well, I mean, that's why I got River on board for the application. So yeah, have you looked on his artist profile and stuff, because he's done some sort of Disney-esque stuff. So I'm thinking sort of making it a little bit towards a Disney level of the super marketable. I want in the UI, and we might need to get a graphic designer and stuff for this part. I want to really bring Maori and Chinese elements into the UI more and more, because the main character, the primary one that you actually play, is a Kiwi Chinese girl, is a white girl, Pākehā girl, and their best friend love triangle is a Maori boy. So getting those elements into the UI would be really nice.
Yeah, and I've been watching. So shout out to River, because I mainly look at what he posts in the D&D group, but his 3D modeling and everything like that is so beautiful. But yeah, it's very clean and very open to, I think, like what we would consider more game artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consider it more sort of standardly marketable stuff. Yeah. I don't feel like it would be right I don't think it would be right for this game with setting in New Zealand to go like full sort of anime styles, which is why I think sort of bringing it back towards a more like almost Disney-ish style would be more appropriate.
Definitely, yeah. And also, like, because what would be great, and I think we have talked about this game, I think, like, once or twice a few years ago. Like, it's you know.
It's been a long time.
But, like, bringing Te Reo... Yeah, it's like bringing Te Reo into it. And then, of course, having, like, you know, you can bring some Mandarin into it, or Cantonese, depending on which way you go. Yeah, I think that would make it just so uniquely Kiwi.
So that is super high. I haven't gone super deep into it because it is probably one of my deepest ideas. I could go on for hours. I feel like I'm going to get red for how long this episode is, just like talking about myself. Okay, so here was the more simple idea. One of the reasons why I wanted to release Her Gentle Highness at the end of February is that every March there's the NaNoWriMo game jam. It used to just exist on its own, but it's now come into itch.io because it used to just exist as a thing that within the Ren'Py community. So I'd be doing another game on Ren'Py. So my idea that I've had for a little while now is a tie-in game with Dragons of Tyrania, and it's quite inspired by the game Astrologaster, which it's on the Black Lives Matter bundle. If you love Shakespearean stuff, just play it. So freaking good. And again, really good voice acting and just beautiful art. So the game that I would want to make would be called, working title, Demon Summoner. And you would be like a master's level student, like a tutor at a university in Felsina, which we went to in Apprentices of Tyrania, and it was the student town. So it was like, you know, being run riot by students. So you're there in this sort of crazy academic place, very esoteric. And I don't remember if I've come up with, it might be in my notes somewhere, what the motivation is of the main character, but for whatever reason you've gone, I have this lovely magical tome. And basically the whole game takes place in your room with your summoning circle, and it's just conversations with different like supernatural entities that you can summon. It would be very simple for me to make. I have also met an artist at Armageddon. She was right next to us with her stall, who does very like cool, demonic like line work that could look. I'm thinking this game could even be in black and white, like just sort of like woodcut, medieval woodcut type art of demons and stuff. So yeah, that is a potential plan. Yeah. And, you know, you can tell I have a vague idea. I haven't, like, written anything, because the rules of NaNoWriMo is that you don't write anything before you go in. So I haven't written anything. You can do, like, a little bit of prep work. Like, you can write yourself a sheet of ideas and stuff. And that's actually how I did 9 Lives of Nim. It started off as NaNoWriMo 2015. That's an idea. My next idea. Here's another one that I've been sitting on for years and years and years and years and years. And here's where we unpeg Tombi. So Tombi, I have told you about, and I think I've talked about it. I have talked about it on the podcast before. That sounds fun. It's my favorite game from the 90s on the PlayStation 1. You're a little pink dude, and it's a platformer, and it's got fun adventure qualities to it. Like, you know, you have a quest log, so you can see what things you haven't completed yet. Nice. It's got sort of a puzzle platformer aspect to it sometimes, of having to solve different things to move forward. So I really want to do a puzzling, adventuring type platformer with a similar sort of art style, sort of that pixelated but higher quality of. And I have always loved the mechanic or the idea of alchemy, of like potion making in games. So I've played a lot of the Italia series, which are like a very anime. It's a JRPG. So here's my idea, where I shove those two ideas together, and I've been planning this for like literally years. You're a little witchy girl alchemist in training with your staff, like you've got your like whole magical girl outfit and everything. You're basically, I think her hair is either pink or purple, her outfit's like purple or blue or whatever, you know, very like candy colours, right? And you've got your staff, and on your staff's it's got a parrot's head, and it's your friend called Homunculus. He's a parrot homunculus, and he's like talking back to you, sort of sidekick, sort of like Kiro. You whack things with his beak, big flat parrot beak. And because he's a homunculus, as you like level up your powers and stuff and you collect different key items that you can then synthesize in your alchemist's cauldron, you can upgrade Homunculus to different types of weapons. So he can transform into all sorts of different things, like, an umbrella to sort of float down and land softly, or a shovel to dig for ingredients that are underground.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of different things. Oh, like wings to help you fly, sort of like glide over gaps and stuff. So, you use alchemy to solve puzzles. So, like, you run into this place where you can't go any further. Oh, what do I need to do? Well, I've got these seeds and I've got this fast grow potion, so, you can drop them there and it'll make a beanstalk grow that you can then get to the next part. Oh no, the big bad is cast, it's got guardians in 4 different places and you have to take different guardians before you can take on the big boss at the end of the game. And classic stuff like that. So that would have to be in Unity, but it's way, I believe at least, it's because it is sort of just going back to old school platforming. And there are tons of tutorials on how to make platformers in Unity. And there are also tons of resources. So, like, there are tons of free, but there are also tons of bought resources for making sprites and making platformer backgrounds. So I wouldn't want to use them just straight. I would definitely recolor them, reskin them and stuff. But, I would want to give like a decent go at maybe doing some pixel art myself. So that's the third idea that I've got. Way more ambitious than Demon Summoner because obviously I'm learning a whole new thing. But I'm super passionate about it because it's been sitting in my head for years. And it's another... So many of these things, right, are like, what would 10-year-old Claire like to play? Okay, so my final idea... Sorry, you go.
Go with your final idea.
My final idea is actually a 4-part idea. So, and the reason why I've left it to the last is because it is sort of the easiest one. So, if Wonderland Nights does well in China, but not well enough for me to leave my job, but like sort of well enough that they want to do a follow-up like immediately, I have had 2 of these ideas for like forever. Since around about the same time I had the idea of what's it called now, White Rabbits. So the first 2 ideas is it was originally going to be like White Rabbit, Ace Detective, where someone's been murdered. It might be like almost like procedural, like it might be a different person every time. And I was going to have it be the White Rabbit having to be the detective and figure out who's, the murderer and get a bit Cluedo about it, right? But now that I've actually done White Rabbit's diary, maybe it shouldn't be White Rabbit. Countess of Clubs, or spoilers, her other titles. Maybe it should be her because she was the detective. That is her background. And the White Rabbit could be her assistant. He could be her Watson. So that was one idea. I don't know who is the character who I would get to do this, because originally in my head it was White Rabbit. But again, since renaming it to Wonderland, naming the series to Wonderland Nights, my options are much more open to being any character for Wonderland, whether it's an original Lewis Carroll character or one that I've made up. The star director. So for another summit, another character has to organise a pageant or like a play for the royals to watch.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
And so they have to, and like, girl, like I've been a director many times, managing personalities, managing like tech and costume and stage managing and stuff. So like one of like, we've got to put this play together, we've got to please everyone, we've got to keep the cast and the crew happy as possible. We've got to manage like backstage dramas, like who's in love with who. I don't know who do you think would be the character?
So I like, it's kind of like also going off like what the voice actors sound like kind of thing. So I would say you've got true. Prince of Spades would be quite funny because also knowing Tom who voiced him, he's teenage boy. I think he's like nearly 19, but like but also like
he plays a good line in teenage.
He and also like I think it's quite funny when you put like a teenager and thing, and it's like I think it's similar enough to White Rabbit where you can get the anxiety there. Where like say if you take a character like Julie from Diamonds, who's also like a teenager, but she's quite a calm teenager, so I don't think like the anxiety like she would get anxious, but like you play her, especially in White Rabbit Diaries, you play her quite chill. So it's that whole thing of like, even though she gets anxiety, it's not like where it's like the Princess Bee's like, I'm gonna be the next, you know. That could be quite funny. I think Blue Caterpillar's probably too chill. King of Spades.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, but that could be quite funny. But like, if you made it maybe the Spades royal family, that could be quite funny. If it was Spades hosting, because then you've got.
Good God, I would not want to see Queen Sarah being the director. Jeez.
But that would be that could be like
just eviscerate people.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like that would be the whole like you've got the Queen of Hearts off with her head, so you kind of got that in Sarah as the like. And also just so I can voice her again. But like...
Yeah, well, I mean...
Yeah.
You will be making a reappearance no matter what.
But like, it's that whole thing of like, you've kind of got the similar dynamics in Hearts that you've got in Spades. That's pretty much... If you're going to do it, that's your similar dynamic. Otherwise, I would say... It depends on like what plot lines you bring over from the first game onto this.
I think we try and keep it as ending agnostic, like
exactly, because
like no one died, no one got revealed.
So like
no one died, no one got revealed, no one got married, like left their marriage or anything. Yeah. So
I think like Spades could be quite a good one, or I would say probably then Diamonds, because you've got that would be the complete difference, because you've got the spendthrift of Queen of Diamonds, who probably will overspend the budget, and that's her anxiety of maybe she has to keep in budget. You've kind of got the dull, I say dull, he's not that dull, but like King of Diamonds, who's like, boorish, I guess is the word to use.
Boorish.
I can't remember what description we gave him when we were doing the...
It might have been boorish.
I think it was boorish. I think I was Googling words, like thesaurusing words.
It might have been boorish.
But then you've also got the calm Julie. So like that's, I think, a very different dynamic, which could be interesting. But the only one I wouldn't do is Clubs, because I don't think Jamala, Catherine, or Claudius would do that. Whereas they could do the other game, So it's funny, two things. So it's funny that you first went to John, because here's the reason why, right? So out of the 4 ideas I've got, it's each for a different place. It'll be the Spades one. There's actually a second one for Hearts, which I can't separate it from Hearts, but I'll tell you about that one next. Yeah. I'm onto something there. Like maybe we could get Tom to reprise his role and be the main character for that one. I think still have White Rabbit as his like assistant director though, because like White Rabbit, White Rabbit, you sort of need him to push the anxiety levels up. I mean. So star director, that's an idea. And also, actually the other thing is like John is always looking for a job in life, so trying out directing could be fun. So idea number 3. Yeah. Is I don't even know where this one came from. This one came quite recently. Not super recently. It came during the development of the White Rabbit's Diary. What's in this is that the King of Hearts and the White Rabbit get locked in the library together. Like there's a magical like gate, like they can't get out of the library. And the way they have to solve the enchantment is that King Harry has to figure out... because all of the characters in his book start coming alive and coming out, he has to figure out the perfect web of how to ship all of the characters so that he ends the enchantment. So it is the shipping game. It is like the blind date organizer game. A lot of these games have this sort of like you are still organizing as a theme to them. Yeah, So that's the shipping game. That's an idea. It's super vague. I don't really have anything beyond that. Oh, I love that.
But it could be really fun. And you can also play with way more characters from other public domain properties in that point. So like, Treasure Island and lots of different places. So, and the final idea that I had super, super recently, and this is the Diamonds game, is the backstory of Queen Diana. Because I hint in the story in White Rabbit's Diary, I hint that she was actually just a random chick from Spades who was pretty good at magic, and she used that magic to get herself up and noticed by the King of Diamonds so that he would marry her. So I was thinking, like this is a genre parody game. It's like a parody of Princess Maker, a parody of like dating simulators, of like. It's basically like the flavor of love of dating games, where like she has to like just pimp herself out, be the most shameless, like, look at me, King of Diamonds, marry me. Oh, but also don't notice that I'm a witch, and also like don't let the other women expose me as a witch, sort of thing. So like, yeah, a genre parody, high stakes, dating simulation thing where your whole point is you need to marry the King of Diamonds. But yeah, so that one's very vague, but yeah, could be fun. I think graphically it could be quite fun as well, and yeah. I think somewhere in there gambling would be a like mechanism.
That would be fun.
Because I feel like the whole thing is a bit of a gamble for her.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
So, I've laid out for you my sort of super categories of ideas. Just for you personally, and there's no pressure with this, but for you personally, what would you be the most excited by? And I'm also keen to hear our audience if you guys want to comment and stuff. What would you be most excited by, Lauren? What would you be most excited by to play as a player, but also what would you be most excited to work on? Whether it be as a voice actor, whether it be as like a producer, engineer.
Like, super high, like, if we're going big, like, that's the game we could go big on. Like, I love that idea kind of thing. Because I think it's representative of, like, us, of Kiwi, everything, or the culture that we've got going on. So, like, and I think we've talked about it before. So, like, I really like that. But, like, that is definitely one I'd be like, you've got to put in the time kind of thing. I love the idea of Demon Slayer. Like, I think that's hilarious because, like, once again, like, as like a quick, easy game, and then you just kind of have to talk yourself out of a deal. Like, that's really fun. And I think, like, you know, it's easy, it's simple, but I think you can get quite clever with it and, like, you know, have all those kind of like dialogue-y things. So, like, as a gamer,
I think we can also have a sort of like, I think sort of like a drag and drop element of like sorting out sort of magical spells along like a summoning circle, as well as the role-playing element, dialogue element. Carry on, sorry, I interrupted.
So I think no, that's all right. So I think as a player that would be interesting to me because, like, I love that kind of like, if I pick this, everything goes wrong kind of like idea, like, or everything goes right, you know, but it's really like this affects this affects this affects it. And I just like, I like those kind of games. I mean, I like Wonderland Nights. I think the one that intrigues me the most out of those is probably Diana's backstory, because as a player, you only get the hints of her backstory, whereas like Sarah, Hera, and the others we kind of know. But I think, like, as the terms of working on it, I want to punish Tom pretty much, and I think it'd be funny to watch him get very anxious.
He's so easy to work with.
I think that's more of like he's really easy to work with. He always kind of produced quite good quality, and like I've played as an actor, I've played against his anxiety, so I think that's fun. And I think that's more of an acty sound design thing rather than like a full sound design thing, because like Dracula was our first play together, of course, and I legit frightened him as in my character and in real life. But like it would be fun to like direct him with his voice for that. So yeah, so like I like the sound of all of them, but yeah, I think like for a player, probably Demon Slayer for like a nice, like I say easy, but like anxiety, but like also like fun game. Super high for the big sound design, world building, us working on it like fully would be amazing. So I think work wise, super high, because I know it'll be like the big most challenging for us.
Oh yeah.
And then also just like in terms of like Wonderland Nights, Diana. I mean, I like the idea of the witch game because I love super cutie games. So like all of them are great, but I think like at this moment in time where we are, like I think those would be my top 3 ranked.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good to hear.
But yeah, but like that's also I think the type of player I am. Like I love graphic novels. But I also like graphic novels that give me anxiety.
I seem to be going down that route a little bit.
Yeah, but I think it's like, because if you make a choice, and even if it's a casual choice, like the directing one, it could just be a casual choice, and it's like nothing bad actually happens, but it's that whole thing of like that affects that, and I kind of quite like those kind of plot.
Yeah, to be honest, I was like losing enthusiasm for that one, but like through talking about it, I realized I had way more ideas for it than I remembered. And then, yeah, hearing your enthusiasm about it has sort of rekindled my one. So like, yeah, I
think also it's that whole thing of like different things will catch different people. So it'll be interesting if like, you know, the audience gets back what games they're interested in. I think Super High will be the biggest one because I think once again it's the most world building. But I think in my brain, I'm also realistic about how that will come about. So, because I also know the team that you're getting together for it. So I'm also like, I want to work with them. And like, because I'll be casting that one. I'll be like, we're going here. You're going to audition for this, and you know, so like work wise, super high, but while also playing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think like Demon Slayer for like a fun, easy game, and then if Wonderlights takes off in China, all those backstories.
Oh, cool! Thank you. You've really helped. Sort of. Get me to roughly place things in order, which is something I've been struggling with.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Like, I am the cheerleader of
thank you.
And organizer. Yeah. I need pom-poms.
Thank you very much for listening all the way to the end of this podcast. Lauren, do you have anything you want to plug?
At the moment, something that I'm enjoying playing. Once again, I'm going to play Costume Party 2. I actually will plug a Twitch stream. My friend Sabrina, who's Australian, she is in the same boat that I'm in and moved to the UK recently. She just finished playing Alien with her husband Thomas, and it was Alien Isolation. It was the most anxiety-ridden stream because they kept dying, and it was great. So I'm going to plug their Twitch. They play generally on Thursdays, but of course with the Christmas period, it's up and down. Yeah, so her Twitch is twitch.tv/Sabrina the Stump. So it's Sabrina, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and then Stump is STUMP.
Sabrina the Stump. Cool. I'll go follow
Sabrina
her.
Stump.
Nice. Anything else you want to plug?
I'm trying to think of everything. I've honestly just been working too much. That's really what's going on. I'm going to plug taking a holiday. Taking some time off. I am going to play a few games while I'm on leave, but I haven't actually been playing much, and I've just been reading Good Omens again. So.
Yes. Oh my god. We got the DVD last year for Christmas. That was our Boxing Day. We binged the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Actually, one TV show that I recommend that I don't know if it's in New Zealand yet, so I'll do a Google and see where you can find it, is I May Destroy You. It's by Michaela Cole, and it is about... and I'm going to say there's huge trigger warnings on it. It is it deals with very serious subject matter, and it did destroy me. I cried through so many of the episodes. It's a mini series, but it's brilliant. It is just tackling the idea of creatives, mental health, and also like Black England. And I honestly just fell in love with it, but also was like sitting there sobbing and getting triggered, but like in the best way possible. So yeah, it's I recommend, but it's definitely like watch at your own precaution.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, what are my plugs? Just the standard stuff. Join our Discord if you want to just hang. You can, if you want to tell me your opinions about the games I mentioned maybe making. That'd be a good place to do it.
Yeah.
Chill with the fam. Can't join the roleplay just yet. We're in the middle of like a wrap-up scene, but we're coming up with a new thing soon, so more on that later. You can contact me on Facebook, Twitter, Insta. I haven't really got any other major plugs at the moment, so yeah. Unless you speak or read Chinese, in which case, buy the game. It's almost out.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I get to say the thing this time, or maybe I'm going to let you say it.
Woo!
Because the tradition is that I don't say
What is it?
Do you know what I'm going to ask you to say? Do you remember? Have you listened to this podcast?
Keep on gaming.
It's just keep
on gaming.
But there is a meme of James saying it wrong and then me asking him to say it again. So you've actually perfectly fit in the tradition of James forgetting his own catchphrase.
I am the tradition.
All right. I will say goodbye, everyone. Have a great fortnight. See you in the new year. And you'll say...
Keep gaming!
Woo!
Oh, I just punched my TV.
Ow.